he knows that I got something special, and that's that power. And he knows that I'm gonna beat the out of him standing up. It's gonna destroy his brand. I'm not gonna take him down and hold him down, and he's gonna be able to be like, oh, if it would have been a stand-up match, no, 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 I'm gonna come get right in your face, put the pressure on you, and break you and make you quit.
You spoken about boxing for a while now, and you're almost here. You're finally here on the boxing scene. Does this feel like a long time coming for you?
Yeah, and parts of me, like man, like it's been a whole other life, because I tried to do some boxing when I was in MMA at the peak, and it wasn't possible. It wasn't able to get done, and there was always something in my mind like I wanted to do. Obviously, I'm a combat aficionado. I love combat. Some of us came from like the grappling background, so they the way the UFC contract set up is like, hey, if you want to go back to wrestling or grappling or Abu Dhabi's, you're allowed to, but if you come from like striking and you want to go striking, you can't. And in a certain way, it makes sense, whatever. But it's just like damn, I didn't get to do it. The contract wouldn't allow, and finally, I got the permission to do it, and it was amazing. And then the fight got pushed back from April to May to June, now finally 2 weeks away, July. So in all that process, it really has felt like forever. Like, man, it's taking forever to come back to boxing, and I'm excited, man. I can't wait. This
Yeah,
is my second pro fight, and I've really put in a lot of time to switch over the craft, because from the start of it, I didn't want to be an MMA guy going into boxing, taking my MMA training to supplement my boxing. No, I wanted to do what boxers do. I wanted to box how they're working out, get into that routine. So I came here to Las Vegas. I've been here about 6 months now, just doing the boxing thing. From the moment the sun goes up till it goes down, we're just doing whatever boxers do, and I think it's paid off a lot of dividends. I've learned a lot. I've changed a lot of things about my stance, how I move, my footwork, even the way I throw punches, because I'm not worried about takedowns and kicking right now. So the standing, the strategizing, the moving, the efficiency is a little different now. And I'm glad I've only had more time to focus in on my craft and just get to work on pure boxing fundamentals.
yeah. And you mentioned there being in Vegas, which is a difference for you. You've trained at your home in Miami or Florida for so long, and it has kept getting pushed back, which is more time you spent away from your family in Miami. So does that add something else to the fight? The fact that Nate's got to pay for this time you spent away from your family and your kids.
Well, definitely Nate's got to pay for everything, His face has to pay all these bills. Yeah, it sucks, man, because I always have my kids is like my support system. Like I got my ass kicked in the gym today. I'm gonna hang out with my kids and we'll go eat some pizza and this and that. And tomorrow I'll be better, But I haven't had that support system here, so it's been tough at times. And you know now we're there. Now I
Yeah.
get the
How does that work then when you're in camp, you training for a fight, but you've also, you're a dad as well. Away from camp, is it a lot of FaceTime calls, the odd weekend back home?
yeah, a lot of FaceTime calls. I went to visit them for a couple weekends, and they just recently left. They were here for 2 weeks with me, and now after the fight, I go get them again for another 2 weeks. So it'll be like that. We have the time divided 50-50 pretty much. So during the camp here, most of the time I wasn't collecting on my time, but I was still able to see them on weekends and stuff like that, But I just had to replace it with something, because it was tearing me apart in the beginning, and then something that I did in this camp that I've really never done in my other camps is rehab and sorry, long night. Uh, just getting better at recovery, 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 recovery. Like every day I have set up from 1 hour to 2 hours of recovery every day. Something I didn't do in my previous career. I would just do like sauna and cold plunge and call it a day and that's it. But here I've been getting worked on every day, whether it's like dry needling or deep tissue massage or getting in the oxygen chamber for numerous hours a week, and you know uh, lots of things. This laser bed. Gary Brecka has really came through on the superhuman protocol. I've been feeling like amazing, man. These new advances in technology are like insane. I feel sometimes like I'm 28, 29 years old, like I'm in my 20s. They got these PMF beds and these laser beds, and at first I'm like, that's all bullshit. What are they selling? But after doing it for like a week, I was like, this has to be a part of my camp forever. And these are just like basic things like getting sunlight, or hitting the ground barefoot and getting charged up, along with the things that they have to supplement that when the days that I can't do it, or to even extend that, or maximize those things. I just been feeling amazing, man. It's been showing on my times as well when I run my miles. I've had a usual pace. I could say I've dropped that pace by a lot. Now, obviously, I'm running a lot more than I did in MMA. In MMA, I would run like 3, 4 times a week max. Here in boxing, we run Monday through Saturday, so my running's just gotten better just because of the running. But my times have improved dramatically. I'm pushing the pace. I got a heart monitor on that lets me know how much I'm pushing the pace, how much I'm recovering, how I'm sleeping, and I could say on all levels, we have all cylinders flying. Like the engine is ready to burn rubber, or in this case, leather in this face.
That's good to hear. And you've spoken about how this deal is with the UFC is it's essentially 3 boxing matches, and then you'll go back. And you've spoken about how you kind of want to start with maybe some MMA guys, some influencers guys, then progress on to boxing guys. And putting two and two together, you're working with Famio for this fight. Famio famously had Floyd Mayweather for the Logan fight. Is that specifically a fight that the guys have spoke to you about, that is being actively spoken about as maybe one of your three?
Definitely getting there with Logan Paul would be fun. I mean, for starters, we'd break all pay-per-view records. We'd do some insane that no one's ever done in the sport of combat, possibly. And he hurt Mayweather a couple times, in that fight. Maybe he hurt him 2 or 3 separate different times where he wobbled Mayweather, and that means a guy could throw some fucking heat. So let's get in there and fucking find out. He's got a little bit more weight than me, but it doesn't matter. I can come up to the weight that he wants, and that's just blow the roof off wherever we fight. Now obviously I'm gonna knock this dead, so he's got to be willing to take part in that, because he knows I'm not no over the top fighter, or some dude that doesn't know how to fight. Like a lot of the guys that he's been fighting, I've been fighting my whole life. I'm gonna get in and hurt this dude. And yeah, these influencers would be good paychecks. I fought the toughest dudes in the world for 20 years. Whoever was the toughest dude available, that's who I fought, or who would get me closest to the title. I wouldn't mind making some good boxing money right now and fighting guys that could help me level up to then eventually fight a real boxer, like Floyd Mayweather, a Manny Pacquiao. But in the meanwhile, I'll take like a Jake Paul, a KSI. I'll take these guys, like Tommy Fury's ass, if he ever dare sign that contract. Any one of these dudes, I could just keep practicing my boxing, sharpening my skills, go to the gym, get in the best shape possible, and then execute my game plans on these guys. And if everything's going in the right direction, let's get our hands on some bigger names.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned Logan there, because you said how maybe Jake has actually talked himself out of a fight by the constant UFC trashing. Do you think maybe in
Yeah.
hindsight that wasn't the smartest thing for him to do, to constantly go at Dana? Because in your case, it might have cost him a big fight with you.
Um, I mean, it's not like Jake's doing bad and he needs the UFC, because from what I hear, he's doing all right, and from what I see, so it's not like he needs this fight night. It's like he needs the UFC. But if he hadn't said so much about Dana and the company, he would have been a possible opponent. But that wouldn't be good for him either, because what promoting could he do if I would have snapped his jaw shut? Because that dude, he won't last 3, 4 rounds with me, man. I'll break him down. And I can't wait for the Nate fight, because the world's gonna be able to see the difference between me and a lot of these other guys when it comes to these hands.
We spoke about how 3 fights in boxing, then the doors open for a UFC return. With Conor McGregor's fight being postponed, do you think that could actually potentially work in favour for you, because you could have your box matches get sharp, and then hopefully he has a fight in the meantime, and it could set up one of the biggest UFC fights in history between the two of you?
This fight has the potential to break all types of pay-per-view records and be massive, but Conor wouldn't accept this fight before he got extra mode and extra diva mode. Like, he had always told the UFC he won't fight me. When I had the BMF belt, when I broke the world record, he would say I'm too big, and Dana White said it, I'm too big for him as well. Yet he's at my weight class 170. That was before he got the in him. Guys that he's convinced that he could beat, like Chandler, like he's convinced he could beat Chandler. He still won't fight him. He's pulled out how many times out of this fight? How many times has this fight been rescheduled for one reason or another? This is not the first time that this fight falls apart. I think it's the second or third time. So that's the guy that he's convinced that he could beat. You can't get him in the ring. For a guy like me that he actually has legitimate fear deep down inside for me, for my style, how the way that I fight, what I've done to Nate, what I've done to opponents that he has fought as well that didn't go exactly his way. He knows that I got something special, and that's that power. And he knows that I'm gonna beat the out of him standing up. It's gonna destroy his brand. I'm not gonna take him down and hold him down, and he's gonna be able to be like, oh, if it would have been a stand-up match, no, 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 I'm gonna come right, get right in your face, put the pressure on you, and break you and make you quit. Similar to how DP did your ass, and he doesn't need that for his ass again in his brand. So he's never ever that's why you'll see he never mentions my name or anything like that, though we're the biggest fight they could possibly make, because he knows it's just a bad day for him in the office. He's gonna lose a ton of fans and he's gonna look like in the process.